What's up, people? It's Monday, and it is the 12th of December. Yes, sometimes I misspeak. I have the radio on. I'm about to turn it off. It's part of my ritual in the morning. I listen to the news, and I try to listen to Tom Ashbrook on NPR. It's a habit. I don't know what you people are hearing, but what I hear is, I don't hear news. I hear propaganda. I hear pure manipulation of people. Pure manipulation. It's disgusting. But I have a habit, and I've been listening all my life, so I keep listening. It's a good thing I do, because I hear what obviously many people don't hear. Complete manipulation and lies and garbage. People, thank you very much for vibing with me about the importance of art and music in our lives. So many wonderful comments on the Greg Lake video, and people sharing things too. Was it Bob Dean who shared where he interviewed Greg Lake and had it posted? I listened to it. A lovely interview. I will say, when people comment and then shamelessly promote themselves, I tend to ignore those. Okay, it's not that I don't think you might be good, but generally speaking, when that's one of the first things that you do when you speak to me is promote yourself, I'm turned off. You know, I'm a musician too, and I sell records, but I go for videos months without saying anything about my work. Although every time I speak about it, I get a response. That has a little bit to do with my response to other people. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm just an observer of human behavior, and certain things just really stand out to me, and so I pay attention to how people operate, and I respond accordingly. Okay. It's also why I don't review Bandcamp pages on here, because there's a lot of good music on Bandcamp, but the thing that brought me here originally was the actual artifact of art, the record. So I'm not about to just start reviewing digital releases only, unless someone pays me. With that in mind, someone asked for information more about the radio show and my Adult Swim spot. So let me tell you again, people, I always, almost always, when I say something, when I refer to something in the video where you can go and find it online, I leave the link in the section below the video where you can leave information, okay? So as of last Thursday, I have a 1 hour, 1 day per week radio show called The Roots of Electric Jazz on the station Mind and Soul 101.3 FM. You can get it here locally in Omaha, but you can stream it online with an app called TuneIn. Apparently the app was made for phones, but you can get it to work on your computer. I had trouble with mine at first, but it works now, and I listen to the station. But this Thursday, I'll be doing my second show from 2 to 3 p.m. That's Central Standard Time, so make the adjustment. My first show just flew by. I used to be a DJ, and you know, time is liquid when you're on the clock, and it's even faster when you're having fun. So that hour went by so quick. The first thing I played on the show was Vashtar by Tony Williams, Lifetime, off of Emergency. I don't have a vinyl copy of this. This is just blistering, with Larry Young on organ and John McLaughlin on guitar. When you hear this and take into account that it was made in 1969, it's completely mind-blowing. This was completely way ahead of the times. That's the first thing I played on my show. I played some Sun Ra, Herbie Hancock, of course, Miles Davis. I'll be branching out from there, but I'm starting with that hotbed of activity. The way I see it, those guys were the guys who really took the ball and ran with the idea of fusing different elements of music and sound together when all that was really starting to come together. The Miles Davis camp and people who associated with him really, really hit the nail on the head. So that's coming up this Thursday. You tune in, I'll leave a link below. Besides that, every Friday now, well, the last few Fridays and this next Friday will feature me again on the internet, on Adult Swim, okay? Adult Swim. I first became of Adult Swim back in the 90s or the 2000s when I had cable TV, and they had a lot of programs on Comedy Central. Well, Adult Swim has content that is streaming online, and one of their shows is produced by friends of mine in Atlanta, and the show is called Stupid Morning Bullshit. In all honesty, I wouldn't watch the show if my friends weren't involved, because it's not directed at me. It's not comedy that I care for. But what's happening is that my friends have included me in the show. A big feature of this show, apparently on Fridays, is talking about new music. The two hosts kind of banter about music and, try to be funny about it. Well, my friends approached me and said, well, we'd like to have you do a spot called Old Music Friday, and where you turn the kids onto, an old album that they should know about. I said, sure. I did the first one as a favor, and then when they asked me again, I said, well, will you pay me for it? And they checked into it, and they said, yeah. So every Friday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, streaming on the internet, you can see the show Stupid Morning Bullshit. Towards the last half of the show is my 1-minute segment called Old Music Friday, which I tape right here. Last week I featured the band Gamera from Germany. And the week before it was Friends, an old fusion album. And Cindy, is it Cindy Wilson? But Cindy of the B-52s was the guest on the show that day. So she sat and listened to my segment while they aired it, which was cool to see. So if you want to catch some of the other things that I'm doing, there's the explanation. Fridays, you can catch a minute of me on the internet streaming, talking about music, and on Thursdays on the internet, on internet radio. I'm doing a show now. Excuse me. Thanks again, people, for being so kind. And thank you, folks who watch and don't like me. Thank you for not commenting, because I want to use this for an example and be vague, but I had an encounter this weekend with an associate of mine who is new in my life, doesn't know me well. Something happened where there was a difference of opinion about what needed to happen, and I did what I knew it was right. And this person wasn't happy about it and tried to get in my face. And it became really apparent really quickly that the problem was inside of that person. There was no problem with me or what was done. The person was having problems with himself and directing it at me, which I don't accept. In person, you can't get away with that with me. On the internet, you can hide and throw jabs and then go run and hide, but in person it doesn't happen. So thank you, people who insist on watching me, and for whatever reason you don't like what I have to say. Thanks for not leaving insulting, rude comments like so many people do on other videos and other social platforms. It's just, again, it's a travesty, the low levels that humanity has sunk to. It's a shame how horrible people will treat one another, consciously or unconsciously. apparently not being able to think about, well, I wonder how you would feel if you were on the receiving end, especially when it's unjustified. Your behavior directed at others is unjustified, and it's just wrong. It's just wrong. So thanks for keeping your illogical thoughts to yourself. Because when they do pop up, I read them and then I just erase them. If someone has something about validity to say, even if I don't agree with it, I'll leave it up. And you can look at it and see that. Someone had started an argument a while back on one of my on my Opus video, where people perceived that a comment someone left was racist. Well, I don't know that I perceive it that way. Even if it is, I don't take it personally, because once again, the comment is a reflection of a problem of the person who wrote it, not a reflection of me. So that's why I say, yeah, if you have something broken, insulting, hurtful to say, leave it here and show yourself, because it'll be obvious to me what's going on here. The problem isn't me. Cheers. In other music-related stuff, yes, I have one order going out today. It's Christmas time. It's probably too late for many people, if you were to order any of my albums, to order them for Christmas presents. I don't know if they would arrive in time, but I still have titles left: Flyover, Murphy, and Nice. These are good records, as everyone who buys them says. They're collector's items too. As I continue to do what I do, my head keeps slowly rising further and further above the horizon as far as notoriety. And I can say that with all truth. It's happening, because I'm doing this in an organic way, where I'm not out there trying to hustle and make everybody see me like a person like Kanye West. This is happening very naturally, that you just keep doing something, and after a while you get noticed. So my records are already collectible, but in the sense of being truly collectible, they will be. They will be. So get them. Get my records, and they're good. They are. Other music that has played recently or is out, because I'm going to be playing it. I'm going to be featuring some Henry Threadgill soon on my radio show. Too Much Sugar for a Dime. Henry Threadgill is an amazing composer and saxophonist, still alive, very, very cutting edge. Pulled out, I have a lot of music that I don't have on vinyl. Tetsu Inoue, World Receiver, some from the 90s. In the 90s, I think that there were some really wonderful, exciting, if you can call it that, ambient music being made, and Tetsu Inoue was one of them. The Instinct label, which this is on, put out a lot of good records, as well as the Fax label. So I listened to this, really enjoyed this. It's kind of hit me again with going over the death of Greg Lake and how important that music is, even though we just tend to think of pop music as just background. It's the stuff of people's lives. It hit me again. Prince is gone, y'all, and that's just wrong. Prince and David Bowie and Leonard Cohen and Maurice White and people like that are dead, and Donald Trump is about to become president. Could this picture be any more screwed up from my perspective? And the answer is yes and no. It's pretty bad. But Gold by Prince. I love that album by him too. What a guy. Here's something else that I plan to play this week on the radio. Sonny Chirac, Ask the Ages. This is apparently going to finally be put out on vinyl. It's never been released on vinyl. Came out in 1991. Sonny Chirac was a jazz guitarist. I'm pretty sure he's passed away. I don't remember. But he was one of those trailblazers who could do the free thing and play his butt off through changes. And he was wild. Really imaginative. I flashed Yes earlier because I played this last night, Time and a Word. I love Yes, and the old Yes is great. they're a perfect example of the nature of business when it comes to art, and how the two just, it's like oil and water. They don't mix well. How, as the band looked to become more successful, they kicked members out. You know, Peter Banks on guitar, Tony Kaye, you know, trying to get the new Wonder Kids to make the band a supergroup, which it worked, you know. But that's what happens, you know, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Hadn't played an Evangelist in a long time, so I listened to Opera Sauvage. I have to be in the mood for Evangelist because some of his music can really kind of hit me as treacly, you know, kind of saccharine. This is good, really good. One of my favorite guitar players besides Allan Holdsworth and John McLaughlin is Steve Hackett of Genesis, and it played Momentum. The man is not recognized properly at all. Steve Hackett is one of the best and most influential. Oh, you can say those things and argue with him, but I'm saying them. Steve Hackett has put a stamp on modern music that is still not properly recognized. The man is amazing. And I was playing my own album, Flyover. Yeah, I still dig this, you know. And I have to pull it and play it every now and then just to kind of remind myself, you know, would I do this different? Would I do that different? Some things, yes, but mostly I'm really pleased with this. The inner sleeve, if you haven't seen it, full color artwork, there I am. Really proud of this, people, so just let me show it off. And if you haven't seen the record, people, this is a beautiful splatter, 180 gram splatter vinyl made by Pirates Press. They did a great job on this. It sounds great. It's really quiet pressing. I don't know how many I have of these, but I'm probably less than 100 copies left of this. So get it while you can. I also played the Yes album. This was my introduction to Yes, although Fragile is the record that really, when I heard it on the radio for the first time, it woke me up because I was a teen supposedly going to sleep for school the next day. And I heard that backwards guitar or whatever piano chord into the first ringing harmonics. I sat up. I'll never forget that moment. I love this band, Yes. Played this, Tony Esposito, Italian percussionist. This is kind of so-so. This kind of funky music, you know. For the longest time, I really did not like music like this, and it's been through the VC interacting with other members who really love this music where I started to listen to it with new ears, because I always thought it was kind of hokey. Here's a fantastic album. Okay, all right. Okay, good. Sometimes I'm rough with my records, and so my Blake Sleep's been coming apart over the years, but Focus Moving Waves, I've had a few copies of this, and I don't know why I got rid of them, but I found one real cheap years ago for like $1, so there's that X. But this, I think, is one of the just a beautiful album. Hocus Pocus, the hit, I do not play ever. It's the rest of the album is just gorgeous, okay. And then we get back into the Emerson, Lake and Palmer. That was the last thing I was playing, because other than that, I've been very busy writing, trying to finish up this film, just recording when I feel like it, rehearsing with my bands, played some amazing shows this last weekend. So, how do I want to wrap this up? I think the last thing I want to say is I want to just again try to make it clear to people who watch me and will make suggestions or say things as though their response is like they think I don't know what I'm talking about. This is referring again back to hip-hop. I've had several people respond back to me, say, well, you should hear. I'm way ahead of y'all, okay? I've heard it all. Almost every time someone says, well, I want to recommend this, I want to recommend this, I've heard it. Someone just recommended the Canadian band Harmonium. I got them over here. I did get turned on to a jazz player by someone related to him, and when I went and listened to the clip, it was like, This is good. I'm actually going to try and if my computer will cooperate quickly enough so I can find the note and tell you the person's name. But he said it was either his dad or someone he's related to was a jazz musician. I went to the clip, and it was really good playing, trumpet player. Sam Noto or something like that. You know, when you want the computer to respond quickly, it doesn't. Y'all ever notice that? So another thing I'm watching is this automation that's going on. You know, the automation that's going on is not going to benefit common man. It's not. It's, you know, the bottom line is about profits, and that's not good. Chris Noto, or Noto. Chris, we have something in common. You also share here that, you know, you're the son of jazz icon Sam Noto. He was friends with Miles Davis and worked on Stan Kenton Orchestra. Well, my dad also was in Stan Kenton's orchestra. Who knows? They might have been in the band at the same time. My dad never recorded with Stan Kenton that I know of, but he was in one of Stan Kenton's touring orchestras for a time. Okay, people, stay kind to one another. And you folks that, because this is part of what I deal with, you know, and the reason why it's on the surface for me, and maybe it's easier for some of you other folks to ignore stuff like this, has to do with being black in America and the double standard where I have to jump higher and be better and more together just to be considered okay. So that's why this idea that I have this camp of people who every time I make a video, no matter what I say, there's these dislikes. If you have anything of validity to offer as to why you dislike my videos, well tell me. I know you're not going to go away, but it's like, you know, it's pretty ridiculous. You know, what is your point? You have none.